So, have you ever wondered what it really takes to turn a simple sheet of wax into this bustling hexagonal city that we call a honeycomb? Today, we are going to dive into that incredible process, how bees actually build their home, and more importantly, how we as beekeepers can help guide this amazing feat of natural engineering.
Right. This is the big question, isn't it? How do we get from a blank slate to a honeycomb buzzing with life? It's not just about giving them a template. It's really about creating the perfect conditions for a remarkable partnership between you and your bees. The official term for this is drawing out the foundation, but, that sounds a little boring for what's actually happening. This is so much more than just filling in some gaps. The bees are actively secreting their own wax from these special glands on their abdomens. It comes out as these tiny, delicate flakes. Then they take those flakes and, using their mandibles, they shape and mold them, building up the hexagonal walls right on top of the foundation we provide. They are literally both the architects and the material suppliers. It's incredible. Okay, so to get them started, we have to follow some very, very specific rules. And it all begins with one crucial principle: location, location, location. I'm telling you, where you place that new frame of foundation is absolutely everything. You see, when you add a new frame, you're not just adding empty space. You are sending a direct message to the colony. Where you put this new frame tells the bees exactly what you want them to do with it. Are we storing honey, or are we raising the next generation of bees? So, the strategy here is really key. If you want more honey, you place the new frame right in the middle of their honey stores. It's like you're telling them to build an expansion to their pantry. But if you want more bees, you place it right between the brood. That's the nursery and the pantry. This signals to the bees that, hey, it's time to expand the family, and it encourages the queen to start laying more eggs in that new space.
And this is a huge but. This comes with a massive warning. This is probably the single biggest, most common mistake new beekeepers make. You absolutely, under no circumstances, split the brood nest. Think about it. Placing a new, empty foundation right in the middle of all that developing brood is, it's disastrous. You're creating a physical wall that literally splits the colony in two. It completely disrupts the queen's laying pattern. If she gets trapped on one side, the bees on the other side might think they're queenless and start to panic. And that confusion, it triggers the swarm impulse, which is the very last thing any beekeeper wants.
Okay, so let's say the frame is in the perfect spot. We're all good, right? Well, that's only half the battle. We also need to make sure the colony itself is primed and ready for construction. This means having the right resources and, maybe most importantly, the right leadership.
First things first, you need a powerful workforce. Wax production is a total team sport. A hive that is just bursting at the seams with bees, a really strong, densely populated colony, they will draw out a new foundation so fast it'll make your head spin. A weak colony, though, they just don't have the manpower. They'll likely struggle with it or just ignore the new frame completely.
Next up, fuel for the fire. Think of it this way. Sugary nectar or syrup, that's the carbohydrate energy they burn to do the physical labor. But the protein, which they get from pollen, that's what's needed to actually develop the wax glands themselves, the machinery for the job. You have to have both. If one is missing, the whole building project just grinds to a halt.
And finally, the most critical factor of all, strong leadership. The queen is the heart and soul of the colony, and her status dictates everything. It's her pheromones that send the signal that the colony is stable, that it's thriving, and that it's time to expand. Without that powerful signal, all construction just stops dead in its tracks.
This chart really says it all, doesn't it? A mated, laying queen means you've got a motivated, building colony. A virgin queen who hasn't made it yet, building is going to be weak or even non-existent. And if the hive is totally queenless, forget about it. They will ignore new foundation completely. The colony's entire mindset shifts from expansion mode into pure survival mode. Now, this actually gives us a fantastic little diagnostic tool. Let's say you have a colony with a new virgin queen, and you're not sure if she's successfully gone on her mating flight. Just add a new frame of foundation. If you see the bees start drawing it out, that is a very, very strong sign that she has successfully mated, returned, and started laying. It's a great trick. So what happens when you've done everything right? You've got perfect placement, a strong hive, a great queen, and the bees still won't build. What's going on? Well, the problem might not be the bees. It might actually be the foundation itself. Bees can be surprisingly picky. If the wax foundation has a high paraffin content or some other chemical residues, they'll be repelled by it. And what's really frustrating is that the quality can vary even between sheets in the very same box. Storage matters too. If foundation is left out in the sun or stored for way too long, it can develop chemical changes that the bees just find offensive.
This, of course, leads to the great debate: wax versus plastic foundation. Traditional wax is what the bees know and prefer, but it's really vulnerable to pests like wax moths. Plastic, on the other hand, is super durable and pest-resistant, but, and this is a huge but, it must have a nice, thick coating of real beeswax. If it doesn't, the bees will not touch it, period.
And that's really the key takeaway here. If you see your bees just ignoring a plastic foundation, I can almost guarantee 99% of the time, the cause is either that there's not enough wax coating or the wax that was used for the coating has some kind of chemical in it that's actually repelling the bees.
A honeycomb has a life cycle, just like a bee. It starts out as this beautiful, pure white structure, built from freshly secreted wax that's almost transparent. But over time, as it's used for raising brood and storing pollen, it gets stained by propolis and all sorts of pigments. Thousands of shed larval skins build up inside the cells, slowly turning the comb from that pure white to a dark brown and eventually to black.
And this is not just a cosmetic change. This is really important. With each generation of brood that's raised in a cell, that buildup of old cocoons and skins makes the hexagonal cell physically smaller. Over time, this can actually lead to smaller, less vigorous bees. And that is precisely why we as beekeepers have to regularly rotate out those old black combs and replace them with fresh foundation.
So that leaves us with one final question for you. The next time you open your hive, I want you to really look at the color of your combs. Are they vibrant centers of growth, or are they getting old and ready for renewal? Because understanding this cycle, it isn't just about building new comb. It's the key to managing a truly healthy, thriving, and productive hive.